Oh,
Recording.
I think either everyone's here for.
Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the June 15, 2026 regular meeting of the Village Board of East Aurora. Another packed house. I want to remind everyone that drinks and snacks are not provided, so if you're here for that, don't want to disappoint you on that. If we can start, anybody who's able to stand and would like to, please stand and join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I didn't
I think as long as we have it on, it'll be good. Starting with roll call of attendance with our village clerk treasurer, Maureen.
Trustee Lazikis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Bojanowski.
Here.
Trustee Camp.
Here.
Trustee Root.
Here.
Mayor Wachinski.
Here, thank you.
Six present.
Okay, next up on our agenda, we have changed this. If you saw the agenda on Friday, we're going to start the meeting with a few appointments, but first we have to approve the resignation of trustee Jeff Raby, effective June 2nd, 2026. We're all very thankful to trustee Raby for his service to the village. He was on for 3 years, perhaps, and really did a lot to help us organize our thoughts and brought a real administrative role to his time as a trustee. So can we get a motion to approve the resignation of Jeff Raby as a village trustee effective June 2nd, 2026?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Camp. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Bojanowski. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Next up is a mayoral appointment. I would like to ask Kay Grace Viget to come up to the front here by the flag. I would like to appoint Grace Viget to the position of village trustee for a term set to expire April 5th, 2027. We all know former trustee and future trustee Viget from her time on the village board. We're really happy to have you back. Disappointed you weren't with us for the last couple of months, but glad to see we've set you straight. So I'm going to come down right now and we'll do the oath. Anybody want to come up? Or?
Go up with her.
Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kay Grace Viget,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Take that down for the sign.
I can do it later.
Okay, I'd like to make one more change to the agenda here so that we get all our pomp and circumstance out of the way. I would like to, I would like to appoint Tyler Baker to the position of police officer at step 1 of the CBA, $28.57 per hour, effective Saturday, June 20th, 2026. Can I have a motion to make that appointment?
So moved.
Motion by trustee, who was that?
Me,
Oh,
Cameron.
Trustee me, trustee Cameron, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Viget, all in support?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. If Mr. Baker would like to come up with Chief Welsh, do you have anything to say as well?
Yes, it's my honor tonight to ask the board to appoint Tyler Baker to the position of police officer for the East Road Police Department. I think about 10 months ago, he came on as a part-time dispatcher with us, and at that time expressed his desire to be a police officer one day. He's recently put himself through the Erie County Police Academy. He graduated last week from the police academy, and as of late, with our most recent vacancy, he was chosen for this position. We're excited to get him started in his career and look forward to what's to come. So at this point, I guess we could swear him in.
Yep, let's go.
We're gonna get too much feedback tonight.
Oh, my God.
I never like to outline out if there's a ton of feedback, so you want time to chew it over.
Mm-hmm.
I, Tyler Baker,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
We'll do that tomorrow. You got a fuzz on your shoulder.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time it is 7:10. I would like to move into the public hearings. And the first public hearing is to consider a rezone and minor subdivision application by Young Development, 260 Quaker Road LLC, for the property at 270 Quaker Road. If anybody has any thoughts on this request, please come up to the microphone, and please leave your comments to no more than 3 minutes. State your name and address.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of the Board of Trustees. My name is Sean Hopkins from the law firm of Hopkins, George J. McCarthy, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. Also with me are Brian Young, Joe Young, and Tom Lewis from Young Development, and Chris Wood, who's handing out the presentations, who's the project engineer from Carmina Wood Design.
Thank you.
So I do have a detailed presentation. I don't know if you want me to walk through that presentation. It'd obviously take more than 3 minutes. We've been working on this project for some considerable time now, so I'm going to leave it up to the board if you would like me to do that. Otherwise, I can give an overview.
If you want to have them do it, go ahead.
I think let's sing that probably people are interested in the audience, so maybe to do it now. And we'll make an exception on the 3-minute rule since you're the applicant.
Okay. So we did provide you with a copy of a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to walk through it fairly quickly. But what I do is I welcome any questions or comments as we proceed. So we go to the first slide. The site itself today, which I think we all know at 270 Quaker Road, is 15.7 acres in size. It's currently zoned GM, General Manufacturing, and we're proposing that that be amended to GR, which is General Residential. The next slide is simply an aerial photograph of the site. Portions of the site have already previously been disturbed, and I think we all know where the site is relative to Quaker, Commerce Drive, et cetera, et cetera. The next slide is simply a survey of the project site. It is a topographic survey. There is some elevation change on the site that we're well aware of. So we started this process back late last fall with the Planning Commission, and originally what we envisioned here was 120 units that would have been more traditional market rate, meaning there would have been seniors, but there also would have been non-seniors. Based on input we received, we went back to the drawing board. So originally, 120 market rate multifamily units, and you can see the layout there. And then if you go to the next slide, that's just a color version of that. This was initially presented to the Planning Commission. Then the next slide is a copy of the zoning map excerpt. And again, today, based on decisions that were made more than 2 decades ago, the current zoning classification of this site is GM, General Manufacturing. And again, we're asking that that be amended to GR, General Residential. So the baseline is what's permitted there today in the GM zoning district. That's set forth in 285-22A, 2A of the code. And basically, the legislative intent of that is obviously to encourage manufacturing, commercial, warehouse, et cetera, projects. And that's pulled directly from the code. And then the next slide is actually the uses that are permitted. So there's 4 categories of uses that are currently permitted. 1, manufacturing, processing, or production facilities. 2, research and development facilities. 3, self-storage facilities, although I believe there's a moratorium in place currently. And then finally, outdoor storage or sales ancillary to permitted use. So that's what's permitted there today as of right based on the GM zoning. The next slide is when we started this process, we were trying to figure out, well, if we run out of time and we're forced to buy this site, what alternatives do we have? So we did have a plan prepared for self-storage. Again, subsequent to this, I believe the town board imposed a moratorium, but that would have been a permitted use in the zoning district. When we met with nearby residents early on in the process, that was not particularly well received. But it is something we know would work there and economically actually would be very beneficial to the project sponsor or the applicant. The next slide is what we're currently proposing. This is where it becomes more important. So what we're currently proposing is 118 units for those 55 and up, what we call senior housing, and senior housing only. We're showing a 2-story building. We're showing an extensive walking trail, including pedestrian access out to Quaker Road. We are providing stormwater management facilities on site in 2 locations per the stringent requirements. As you can see, there's an emphasis on green space and landscaping interspersed throughout the site for the benefit of all the residents in the village. We are deliberately avoiding the creek bank of Casanova Creek. We've designed this layout so that it will provide ample access for emergency equipment, including complying with what's known as Appendix D of the Fire Code, which sets forth the width, the turning radiuses, et cetera. And this building will be fully sprinklered. In terms of the amenity package, which is on the next slide, there'll be a large community room. And these are always the questions that we get from prospective senior residents. They want to know not only the units, what is there to do? What are the amenities that will be on site? So it will include a large community room, indoor mail center, a very large outdoor patio for gatherings, exercise room, library, planned activities, and we're hoping to have a shuttle service, monitored entry, backup generator, walking trails, and a dog park. All of those will be provided in connection with the project. And the next version is just a black and white, so we can skip that, of the same plan. One of the questions that came up when we were in front of the Planning Commission was lighting. A resident had some concerns about existing projects in the vicinity and lighting glare into her backyard. So Chris and his team at Carmina Wood Design did prepare a lighting plan. And while it's tough to see at this scale, all lighting on site will be dark sky compliant. And more importantly, unlike other nearby projects, there will be absolutely 0 lighting spillover onto adjacent property. So it'll be low-level residential style lighting complying with the dark sky compliance standards. Next slide is a color rendering. Obviously, we recognize the fact that we're in the village of East Aurora, so there's been an emphasis on updating or enhancing the architecture. You can see there's both vertical and horizontal relief, more residential style sloped roof. We have balconies and patios, balconies on the second floor, patios on the first floor. Again, ample green space. We have that large entranceway feature, which is over there to the right on this aerial photograph. So we really think we can make this look nice and make it look the way the village of East Aurora is used to receiving projects. General residential, which is the next slide. So the intent of that district is for multi-family development. We are taking that one step further in that we're willing to, and we did advise the Planning Commission this, to restrict this to senior only. Meaning, if this board approves a rezoning, we're completely comfortable with you imposing a condition limiting this to senior only, not allowing market rate housing. Next slide. So the biggest question that came up in front of the Planning Commission, and I understand why, given that the site is currently zoned GM or general manufacturing, they wanted to assure themselves and assure you in connection with their issuance of a recommendation that this was not spot zoning. So I did provide a very detailed analysis of that. I'm going to walk through it very, very quickly, but there's 5 criteria that courts consider in connection with a claim that something's spot zoning. And spot zoning, the textbook example would be putting something that's completely contradictory and incompatible with an adjacent use. The best example would be a junkyard in the middle of a residential neighborhood. In this instance, we think it's clear as day, this does not constitute illegal spot zoning. So the first test is whether or not it only benefits a single property owner. And here, quite clearly, it doesn't. While young development, of course, will benefit from this project will provide much needed senior housing to the village of East Aurora residents and nearby communities. So clear as day, this is not only going to benefit a single property owner. It's also important to note, because we knew there was demand for senior housing, but we wanted to make sure that we had a third party confirm that. We hired Donald Griebner, who's a licensed commercial real estate appraiser with 40 years of experience, to actually do a comprehensive market study to determine whether or not we were right. Is there a demand for senior housing in the village of East Aurora? He provided a detailed report, which we previously submitted. And to summarize, basically, he says the market demand for senior apartments at this location will result in occupancy levels of 95% or above. Meaning, basically, once we build this, lease it up, it will be full. We're actually very confident that that will occur. Also mentions the location. Obviously, we all know what the village of East Aurora is about and the nearby amenities. And in terms of the units themselves, there'll be 1-bedroom units and 2-bedroom units. The 1-bedroom units will be approximately 625 square feet, and the 2-bedroom units will be approximately 825 square feet. And Mr. Griebner did conclude that this market is underserved for senior apartments. The next slide. So young development has successfully completed other projects in the vicinity, but the market study includes an analysis of the 10 closest senior housing complexes, including a couple of which are owned and maintained and managed by young development. And basically what it found is for those 10 projects, they're all quite nice, and all of them are basically at full occupancy, meaning any nearby newer senior housing communities in Western New York communities close to the village of East Aurora are full and are projected to remain full. Next slide. I think I summarized everything on that in terms of the square footage, but it is also important to note that Mr. Griebner did conclude that really what makes this site ideal compared to other senior housing communities and other locations in West New York is the access to amenities. Groceries are nearby, restaurants are nearby, retailers are nearby, doctors are nearby, dentists are nearby, et cetera, et cetera. These are all key attributes to seniors in determining where to live. They want to stay in the town or the village that they live in today and want to continue to use those same providers of those services that they do today. And I think we can all understand why. The next slide. So the second criteria is whether the requested rezoning is incompatible with the surrounding uses. So we did this very comprehensive analysis using the villages in the county's GIS of all the nearby parcels. We've numbered those 1 to 39, and we did make a written submission. And basically the conclusion is there's a whole mixture of zoning classifications and uses in this immediate vicinity. This is simply not just an industrial area, and you can see all those different colors which represent all the different zoning classifications. That does include single-family residential, multifamily, bank, car wash, self-storage, industrial, open space, retail plazas, et cetera, all in the immediate vicinity of this site. And then the next slide is basically a list of parcels in the vicinity in terms of what their current use is, which is just following up on the previous slide. And really at the end of the day, if you look at all those zoning classifications, you look at all those nearby land uses, we think it's quite clear and self-evident that what we're proposing, senior housing limited to those 55 and over, is much more compatible with the character of that neighborhood than what would be permitted by the existing GM zoning classification. Meaning the GM zoning classification, if there was demand, could allow for a warehouse with 24/7 operations, could allow for industrial processes with 24/7 operations, could result in significant tractor-trailer traffic. All hypotheticals, but if you compare it to what we're proposing, low impact, again, given the nature of the use. The next slide. So the third criteria is likelihood of harm to surrounding properties. And again, same conclusion. We don't think this project will result in any harm whatsoever on any of the nearby surrounding properties, including those in the immediate vicinity. And we also think, again, it's quite clear that this is preferable from the perspective of likelihood of harm to what's permitted by the existing GM zoning classification today. We have received letters from various agencies, including the Erie County Department of Environment and Planning, Erie County Division of Sewerage Management, et cetera, et cetera. This particular letter that I'm referencing is a letter that came back from the Erie County Division of Sewerage Management on March 26th of 2026. We were asked to prepare what's known as a downstream sanitary sewer capacity analysis to make sure that the sewer capacity is available at that location at the treatment plant during wet weather events. And on March 26th, the county came back and said yes, based on the analysis prepared by Mr. Wood and his team, that there is adequate downstream sewer capacity. We also did provide a traffic impact study, which has been reviewed by DOT that I'll talk about in a second. So we confirmed, and this was requested by the Planning Commission, that sewer capacity exists, and we will be responsible for the typical standard I&I mitigation. Next slide. This is probably the most important in terms of the presentation about why we think this rezoning should be approved for this particular site. We also looked, are there other parcels in the village that would be suitable for this project? Large enough, vacant, and properly zoned to allow this senior housing project. And the only other parcel that potentially could be in play is a property the village indeed purchased in 2023. Those two parcels at 0 Girard and 0 Bowen. And when we look at those parcels, we view that as possibly being also senior housing in the future, again, subject to review and approval by this board, but compatible but different project. We envision likely that that would be what I call an affordable senior housing project, meaning financed through tax credits issued by the New York State Office of HCR. So if that occurs, we view these two projects as being compatible, not competitive. So that doesn't concern us. We know there's ample demand for both product types in the village of East Aurora. Other than that, if you look at the analysis we prepared, there is no other parcel in the village currently or in the foreseeable future that could accommodate this project. And that's part of the reason, in order to successfully complete this project in the village, we need the requested rezoning. And the next slide just follows up on what I previously mentioned. There's 21 parcels today that are zoned GR, which is General Residential District. That's the zoning classification that we need. I mentioned the two parcels that are owned by the village. And then generally, if you look at all those other parcels on that map, and they have that brownish color, none of them are large enough to accommodate. Or secondly, and more importantly, they're already developed, meaning we're not going to acquire, an existing multifamily project, knock it down, and then build a new senior housing project. So this parcel and the parcel owned by the village are the only two suitable parcels that we're aware of for senior housing currently in the village of East Aurora. And then the final criteria determining whether something is spot zoning is whether or not a rezoning is in clear conflict with the comprehensive plan. And we have to start here with knowing the fact that the comprehensive plan for the village and the surrounding communities was adopted more or less 20 years ago. We acknowledge that that comprehensive plan designates this site as appropriate for industrial. From our perspective, a lot has changed over the course of the past 2 decades. A lot has changed in terms of industrial development, including the following. Number one, more and more industrial land is utilized for warehouse and distribution facilities, whether it's Amazon or some similar company. And their key criteria is proximity to highways. They literally want direct access to the thruway, direct access to the 290. This site does not possess that feature. Secondly, what we're also finding is in villages such as East Aurora, Williamsville, Orchard Park, and Hamburg. Generally, those are not the areas that high-intensity industrial users want to be, and usually it's because the land prices are too high, meaning we can go on River Road in Tonawanda, we can go on Grand Island, we can go in the town of Niagara, and really, it doesn't make a difference to us. Village of East Aurora, other villages, and places where people want to live and be in West New York, of course, you do pay a premium for the land. Next slide. So I actually went and looked through the entire comprehensive plan. I read it word for word. And it's important to note, the comprehensive plan does talk about housing, and does talk about, even though it was 20 years ago, changing demographics. Talks about the fact there's more and more seniors, not only in East Aurora, throughout West New York. It talks about trying to not proceed with development on sites that have environmental constraints, whether those are wetlands, floodplains, flood zones. We don't have any of that on this site. If you go to the next slide. Section 3.1 of the comprehensive plan is titled Regional Goals and Objectives. And right off the bat, it says we should ensure an appropriate quality housing stock, which is exactly what we're doing. It says we should encourage residential development where there is infrastructure, particularly water, sanitary sewer, and that's here. We should encourage housing developments in a manner that discourages sprawl and enables residents to use existing infrastructure and services efficiently. That's exactly what we're doing. And then the final bullet point, according to the US Census, and this data is from 2020, the village's population, residents that are 65 and over, is residents that are 65 or older, the estimated population in 2025 is 45 to 52%, 55 and over, meaning half of the village actually qualifies for this type of housing based on adults. That clearly demonstrates there's more than ample demand for this project. Next slide is that same criteria. The comprehensive plan talks about walkability, architecture, appearance, landscaping, et cetera, et cetera. All of these criteria we've considered in connection with the due diligence we've done over the course of the past year. And then the final slide dealing with spot zoning criteria is just the fact that it is now 20 years later. We still acknowledge the fact the comprehensive plan, the actual map, designates this as appropriate for industrial. But as we all know, comprehensive plans aren't intended to last 20 years. And in fact, the plan itself says it should be updated annually. And while has not occurred, that's fine. I just want to make it clear, we can't just simply look at one map in the comprehensive plan and say, well, this should stay industrial from now until any point in the future. We think we provided ample justification for a change in the land use category based on the zoning code, based on the use, and also based on the comprehensive plan. Secondly, we're also asking for minor subdivision approval. And that's simply because we're proposing to split the approximately 11-acre parcel from the overall approximately 15-acre project site. You can skip the next couple slides. So we did provide all the documentation the Planning Commission requested in connection with that request for minor subdivision approval. And then the next slide is a response to a letter we received from the Erie County Department of Environment and Planning. And I want to note, they were referred this project pursuant to what's known as General Municipal Law Section 239M. And they came back with a decision, a response letter dated December 17th of last year. And the first comment is the most important one. And basically it says as follows. According to the Erie Niagara Framework for Regional Growth, the parcel is located within the rural policy area, adjacent to both developing area and a designated rural center. Residential development that is walkable to a rural center may be appropriate when designed to complement the surrounding area and provide diversified housing. Developing multifamily housing in proximity to a rural center can provide needed housing diversity and concentrate growth where infrastructure and services already exist. That's exactly what we're doing. Keep in mind, today, that zoning classification would not allow any housing whatsoever. So Erie County, while this is ultimately your decision, they provide planning reviews, and from their perspective, this is a good use at this particular site. The rest of the comments I don't think I need to address in terms of the Erie County Department of Environment Planning, but I do want to note they encouraged us to provide landscaping, appropriate stormwater management systems, sidewalks, pedestrian connectivity, all of which we've incorporated into the project layout. And then if you skip forward to the next slide titled Demand for Educational Services, the Planning Commission did ask us to reach out to the school district, and we did receive a letter dated January 5th, 2026, basically stating that the school district did not have any concerns about this project relative to their capacity to provide educational services. And when you think about what we're proposing currently, only limited to those that are 55 and plus, this project may have a couple of school-age children because, again, it could be a grandparent, it could be a nephew or niece, but it will have very, very little demand for educational services. On the other hand, it will generate substantial revenue, not only for the village and the county, but also the school district. The next two slides are what the Planning Commission did. So I'm going to touch on this because they spent a lot of time reviewing this project over the course of meetings held on December 2nd of last year, January 6th, February 3rd, and May 5th of this year. And ultimately, during their meeting on May 5th, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the requested rezoning. As they always do, the Planning Commission did its homework, and it issued 11 separate findings in support of the rezoning. And basically, they acknowledge as well that if you look at the comprehensive plan itself, that comprehensive plan that's more than 2 decades old, this is not consistent with the recommended land use on that map. However, they did find, in light of the market study, in light of the demand for senior housing, in light of the merits of the project, in light of the fact that we've confirmed there's adequate sewer capacity, in light of the fact the project will only have minor traffic impacts, and in light of the fact that there is a need for senior housing in the village of East Aurora, they recommended approval. And that's literally quoted from their minutes of their meeting on May 5th. So they issued 11 detailed findings to this board in support of their recommendation. And then the next slide, the Planning Commission did recommend 3 conditions, each of which we're fine with. So the 3 conditions the Planning Commission recommended were as follows. The project shall be limited exclusively to market rate senior housing for residents age 55 and older. Condition number 2, condition number 1 shall be incorporated as a deed restriction on the property. We're okay doing that, meaning although Young Development has never sold a piece of property in their 40-year history, if it ever got sold to another party, they would be aware of that restriction. And then third, a reversion clause shall be included in the deed, providing that the property shall revert to its current zoning classification if the preceding conditions are not satisfied. I would note that's fine, but it would require additional public hearing to held by this board. And then secondly, during that meeting on May 5th, the Planning Commission also adopted a resolution recommending minor subdivision approval, subject to the exact same 3 conditions. So those conditions are fine. And I think the most important condition from the perspective of this board and those in the audience is we are agreeing now and forever that this site shall be used exclusively for senior housing for those 55 and plus. In terms of the remainder of the presentation, I do want to note that this is subject to an environmental review pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. We have provided more than ample documentation. That includes a completed Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form. That includes a downstream sanitary sewer capacity analysis, a wetland letter prepared by Scott Livingston, West New York's foremost wetland expert, a stormwater management summary letter, the responses received from various involved and interested agencies, and most recently, the New York State Department of Transportation, that has jurisdiction over Quaker Road, came back and said they were fine with the traffic impact study, and they were fine in terms of the traffic impacts of this project. One of the key benefits of a senior housing project compared to other forms of residential development, while there's no denying the fact it will generate some traffic, it is significantly less than market rate apartments or even a subdivision because of the fact that many of the residents aren't stuck on the same AM, PM weekday commuter schedule that everyone else is. So based on all that information and based most importantly on the Planning Commission's recommendation during its meeting on May 5th, respectfully we would ask that you take 3 actions. issue a negative declaration pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, approve the requested rezoning subject to 3 conditions, and then finally approve the request for minor subdivision approval subject to 3 conditions. I also want to note that if that occurs, the review of the project is not done, we would have to come back in front of you for a special use permit, and then we would also have to proceed to site plan approval based on Chris and his team at Carmina Wood Design preparing fully engineered plans. However, the steps that we're asking you to undertake are prerequisites for us to move forward to the next step. We appreciate you providing us with a little bit additional time, and we do want to express appreciation for the Planning Commission that really spent a lot of hours and a lot of time in terms of addressing this particular project. We also want to thank a wide range of residents that have met with us over the course of the past 6 months and expressed their input relative to the project. So if there's any questions, either myself or the members of the project team would more than welcome the opportunity to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll continue with the public hearing, and then these are on the official considerations later. At this time, I invite anyone who'd like to speak on this issue. Again, considering a rezone and minor subdivision application by Young Development, 260 Quaker Road LLC for 270 Quaker Road. Please come up to the microphone, try to speak into the mic, because we do have this recording online, and state your name, address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marge Cowder. I moved into the village of East Aurora in November of 1971.
Oh, so can you speak in the microphone? Yep, sorry.
I moved here in the village of East Aurora in November of 1971. I raised my children here. I worked at TOPS for 32 years. I'm presently still volunteering at the senior center and twice a week, and I volunteer at our church. I am still very active in this community, and I don't want to leave East Aurora. Excuse me. I am at the point now that I do have to downsize. I have to have people cut my lawn, plow my driveways, do my gutters, landscaping, and that's just the exterior of the house. There is nothing here for us seniors to move into. And any of you that know, I've lived here 55 years. You just grow to love the village. And I don't want to have to leave, and I don't feel I should have to leave. I just don't understand why Lancaster, Alma, Orchard Park, West Seneca can all have senior apartments and we don't have any. And I just would like to know why. What is the problem that we cannot have these? Can anyone answer?
So we're actually just soliciting public hearings right now, so we're not taking questions, but you can email us, or we can maybe address that later if we...
Well, like I said, I'm not alone in this. When you've lived here this long, you just don't want to have to leave. And there is no other place for us to go. And I just hope that you take a lot of consideration into this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Polly Gowanlock. I live at 340 Main Street, Unit 1. It's a 4-unit, it's a house that's 4 apartments. It's an old apartment and things are starting to go wrong. The hill up to my house, if you don't have an all-wheel drive vehicle in the winter, you have no way of getting up there. I fell under a car twice. One time with a person trying to get me home. I moved to East Aurora. Well, I lived in California for 35 years. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy. I've lived in East Aurora since January of 2017 at the same address. I love where I am, but I'm 71 years old now, and it's getting hard for me to maneuver the steps even up to my beautiful porch, and stuff. And it's just, I know that there's a lot of low-income housing for seniors in East Aurora, but I don't know of one single apartment complex that is for seniors that do not qualify for those apartments, and I being one of them. It would be a great honor and pleasure to stay in East Aurora as long as I can, but I don't know how much longer I can maneuver these steps with my arthritis and stuff like that. And it's just a real need for the higher income seniors to have a place to call home here in beautiful East Aurora. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Kreshkonko. I live on Mill Road, and I'm all for senior housing. I have no problem with it whatsoever. But I would like to bring up several points. One of them is the traffic at that corner between 8 and 9 o'clock and 3 and 4 o'clock. It's actually dangerous. I'm surprised there aren't more accidents than there are. There's school buses, there's semi-tractor trailers, there's delivery trucks, and the corporations let out at 3 and 3:30, and it's impossible to turn left there. Well, not impossible, but very difficult. And I know the state knows, I know we all know, but something needs to be done with that corner in that area. It's very unsafe, and it's going to cause problems in the future. I don't object to the seniors' housing, but I do worry about what about runoff from the corporations that are on either side of it? What if somebody comes in and decides to use nuclear energy? Do we have any say in what goes into those buildings, those companies? We don't, and we should. I don't believe that it's safe for seniors to be that close. What about runoff from those companies? What about sound? What about air pollution? It's just some of the concerns that I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Jane Rademacher. I live at 500 Girard Avenue, and I am in favor of the senior apartments. I've lived here all my life. I grew up 3 miles out of town, went to the Catholic school, and for the last 40 years, I've either had an apartment, and I've been in my home for 21 years now, and love my village, love my town, love my people, and I really don't want to go to Orchard Park or Elma or Cheektowaga. I want to stay here. My house is very old, love it. It's just not a place that I will be able to age in place. Everything's upstairs and downstairs in the basement. So I really hope that we can come to a good conclusion on this and improve the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Mary McCutcheon. My sister and I reside at 126 Sycamore Street in a duplex in a house that's over 100 years old. We kind of make 5-year plans of how long we can stay in this house because we love it. We love our neighborhood. We love the village. And it becomes increasingly more challenging every year. We're both in our 70s, mine closer to 80 than my sister. And I'm here to support this proposal of changing the zoning. And as a first step in more senior housing, there is certainly a need for additional senior housing and low-income housing, but this is a great first step, so thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. If anybody's on the fence about coming up, I encourage it, even if you want to say you supported something that was said before. I think that, we see how many people are in the room, but the minutes will have, that on record. So if you're considering to become brave and provide your thoughts, please do so.
My name's Elna Hoagland. I live at the trailer park behind the Iron Kettle. I worked at Moog for 35 years, and I've been in my trailer for about 25 years of that. Have lived in suburban and rural areas all my life. I love East Aurora. It's great to hear birds in the morning, other animals, and to know that eventually I won't be able to take care of my property the way I need to. It would be just great to be able to move into a place where I don't have to worry about doing anything as far as shoveling in the grass and just maybe grow a few plants on a porch, and having the idea of being able to afford something and be close to everybody that I've gotten to know over the years would be a wonderful thing. So if it can be included as part of the things that rezoning is changed for this, I would be so happy to. And I'd put my name on that list to get in one of those rooms right away. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carol Beach, here with my husband Roger. In 1980, we moved from the North Buffalo area. We built a house right here in East Aurora, a brand new house with Marana Real Estate. I would like to say that we've been here every year since, but we haven't. We have on occasion because of my husband's work and because of, he really wanted to go to Florida. We have found that this is such a special place. I have we've been, I'm going to be 80 next year. My husband's 87. We've been around the block, and there is such a spirit of community in this area. I think we would really be very distressed if we had to leave at a time in our life when we really need to be around our friends, our family, our community, the things that we love about the area. I'm frankly very surprised that in the years that we've been here, there hasn't been this problem of senior housing hasn't truly been taken as an important issue in this town or in any town. None of us think we're going to get old, but we are, and you will. We're all going to get old, and it'd be very healthy for us to be in the town that we've loved for so many years, the people around us that we love, the senior center. What a great senior center we have here. To have to leave and go somewhere else, I would not get much sleep. I'm very hopeful that you will take this into consideration and help us be the better community that we can be for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Christine Estabrook, and I've lived here. I graduated from East Aurora High School in 1968. So I'm 75 years old, and I've lived in New York City, in Manhattan, and LA, which is Los Angeles, California. And I moved back here because I hated LA, but I found out that I really enjoyed and missed East Aurora. And so I live at 76 Center Street, and there's 2 apartments in the building, and I was lucky enough to get one of them. But I also have rheumatoid arthritis, and I need to, I love the idea of making the center, of voting the, I'm in favor also. You know, when you get older, you forget what you're about to say, you forget in the middle of a sentence, and it's extremely embarrassing. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your comment. I don't know what's going to happen to me. That's happened to my whole life. Anybody else? Do you want to say that we love East Aurora so much that, you know, so many are coming and commenting all the time and saying, you know, I've only lived here for 82 years, or I've only lived here for 43, as if a year or two or 10 in Manhattan disqualifies you to an opinion. So thank you for telling us your histories. Anyone else that would like to come up to speak about the rezone and minor subdivision application by Young Development, 260 Quaker Road LLC for 270 Quaker Road? Nope. I thought Ibrahimovic was going to come up, but nope, I guess not. Great, then. It is 7:54. We will close that public hearing. If anyone is interested just to see how this works, we do return to this issue in our official considerations, where the board will comment on their opinions about this, but we appreciate your comments, and of course, you're free to leave at any time if anybody would like to. At this point, next on the agenda is the second public hearing, which I will open at 7:55. I close it.
Yep.
To consider a special use permit application for 635 Main Street, Sylvia Walworth of Valvoline Instant Oil Change. If anybody has any comments on this, please come forward. This is the current TNT. Okay, seeing no one, we will close this public hearing at 7:56. And move on to speakers and communications. At this point, we invite anybody to come and speak on any issue that is on the agenda. Again, limit these at this point to issues that are currently on the agenda, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening.
If you
I'm
could just
Bob
speak in the
Gibson.
microphone,
Can you
yep.
hear?
Mhm.
All right, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Bob Gibson. This is my wife, Marguerite. We live at Stonegate, 270 Buffalo Road. And we're here representing Revive Wesleyan Church. Kevin Beers couldn't be here tonight, but we're seeking the temporary use permit for use of the park facility for the first 4 Sundays in August.
Yep. We will return to this issue later in the agenda, so we may have some questions from the board, but I can say that we did not receive any negative comments after posting it on social media and also emailing, texting, calling, based on our system of the people who have signed up to get information.
Okay.
So we'll see what the comments here today, other than yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to come up? Okay.
Oh, we got a hand up.
We got one hand up, yep. Well, we can bring the microphone to you if you want. That's, no, it's okay. Jeff, can you take the microphone over? Yeah, sorry.
She's going to beat him. It's too late.
Yeah.
I'm waiting till the end. I'm not on the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it an issue that's on the agenda?
Certainly relates to what just went on because I love Bill Road, but it's not.
Okay, okay, we'll wait till the end then, yeah, yep. Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on from there and go to our consent considerations. So in a moment here, I will ask anyone on the board if they'd like to take off any of these issues. I would like to give a few comments. Note that the special use permit application for the Valvoline instant oil change is here. We did not have any public hearings as I expected. That's why it's in the consent agenda. That may be something to consider. The item J, I'd like to say a few things about. This is permission for the mayor to sign a letter of commitment for the Plate Field project to support composting in the village and town. This is an exciting program working on together with Erie County. It does not mean that we are not continuing to look at other composting possibilities such as farmers' pirates, including with some private businesses. But what this is that we would commit to participating in the county's program by opening up our yard waste site to have a compost drop-off so that residents would be able to drop off their compost. This would include some of the things that other composting solutions are not able to provide, like chicken bones and things like that, because it's going to a facility in Alden. Our letter of support here, or my letter of support, would also include the town's role, which would be that they would pick up the composting at our facility and drive it to Alden, hopefully on the electric truck that I helped them to get. And no, we don't think so? We'll try to push for that. But so what this is a pilot program. It's important to get the data of how many people are using this so that we can see if there is interest in us as a community moving further to try to introduce what eventually would be pickup of compost. That's down the road, but this is a zero cost to us other than supplying or having someone to pick up someone to monitor that composting is being dropped off at that site. We have that person already for yard waste. We will have to have some sort of solution in the winter months when we don't have the yard waste. Another update that I'll just put on here, this is not on the agenda, but we also have agreed with Waste Management to have a dumpster placed over by the DPW for corrugated cardboard, because we've received a lot of complaints that there's not enough room to put those boxes in. So we'll have Jeff and Pat will be on a video where they argue about how to take the boxes down, and we'll post that on our social media, but I think it still is an issue, and this is a very easy fix for village residents. So that's another one, and then the next, Jeff, you want to say a few words? I can say sort of the approach that we have as a village board. Our current 3 plows are 10 to 11 years old. They were all bought around the same time. We do not have a backup plow, and this is something that we really need to have as a village. We would like to order this plow truck now, and yeah, I know the change here. We'd like to order this plow truck now. It'll probably be delivered in only 2 years, and if you calculate, if we start getting on a schedule where we're buying one every 2 years instead of 3 to 4 every 13, 14, 15 years, that'll get us to a 17-year-old plow eventually that we'll have to replace, but we can hopefully get into a cycle where we're replacing these every 6 to 8 years, so there's still value when we sell them off. Jeff, you want to talk about the specifics? And I believe there is one change here in that so we have to move this, I think, off the consent agenda, or no? No, we don't have to.
You can change it, you can change it.
The only change is that with the additional equipment, the cost is $299,327. You want to talk about that in the truck?
Yeah, so the $299, that's the chassis and the snowplow equipment. The chassis we're getting a Volvo truck. We've been going with Max the past few years, but the slots are no longer available. After December of this year, they're changing the DEF systems on the trucks, so there's going to be added cost. Larger warranties, which increase the cost as well. Like the mayor said, if we order this now, we probably will not see the truck finished until 2028. The truck will be finished in about a year, but then it'll sit in a parking lot for the equipment for another year. So it's time to act. These trucks are our lifeline in the wintertime. We're having a lot of issues every year with the 3 we have right now. So.
Yeah, that was my next question. Can you give us just like a brief synopsis of some of the trouble you've had with the trucks over the last couple winters?
Usually it's the DEF systems in the truck. Our mechanics can't repair them. They got to be taken to the shop. It's usually computer related, flashed, Brakes, we just did the brakes on 2 trucks, which come to about $6,000. Hydraulic lines, those are all starting to fail. Cylinders for the boxes, those are starting to fail. It's been every year where I've had to borrow a truck from a municipality just to get us through, so.
All right, Jeff, we're not planning on selling any of the trucks, so we do have a backup in 2 years' time, and we'll
Yep.
address that then, but yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
And then the last thing I would like to say before the consent agenda is I do want to pull item R, approve the demo substantial modification of the residence at 517 Linden Ave, Colin Kujavsky, because there is a condition that the Historic Preservation Commission wanted to put on. So we'll put that into the official considerations. Other than that, I would leave the rest of the items. Just note that N will be updated to approve the purchase of a Volvo VHD plow truck chassis from Valley Fab, piggybacking off the Onondaga County statewide contract 10914 for $299,327, including equipment. Does anybody want to take anything off, or are we good to go? Good to go. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cameron. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Bojanowski. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And the motion carries. Okay, next up, we have official considerations. So let's start with what we had earlier in the meeting. I think we can consider these all together. Approval of a determination of non-significance pursuant to the Seeker Act in the matter of the rezoning of 270 Quaker Road by Young Development. Approve the rezone of 270 Quaker Road by Young Development. Approval of a determination of non-significance pursuant to the seeker in the matter of the minor subdivision of 270 Quaker Road by Young Development. And approve a minor subdivision of 270 Quaker Road by Young Development. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the village board for comments on all of these issues without making a motion, to get your thoughts on where we want to go with this, if we do want to go anywhere at this point.
Can we ask questions as well?
Yeah, we want to get, you want to come back up if we have questions?
Okay.
Yep.
How far back from the road, I don't recall, is the main portion of the development?
It's about 620 feet.
Yep, sorry, and just speak into the microphone too, because it goes online. If you don't, we can't.
Yeah, Chris Wood with Carmina Wood Design, about 620 feet
Okay,
to the closest point.
So 2 football fields.
2 football fields. And are there, I'm looking at the color rendering and then the site plan, are there units alongside the drive as they enter, or is it just,
Just-
that's proposed?
Just the orange is the building.
Okay,
So the entrance drive is here,
yep.
and obviously all there is a driveway and the undulating
Do you want to just
pedestrian path.
Can
maybe
you turn it
that
around?
so-
And
yeah,
you may be
yeah,
curious as
yeah.
to what this looks like as well. And then are all the amenities available to the residents of East Aurora, or is
Yeah.
it strictly
Oh, no,
to
they're
55
available to the residents
of the complex? Okay.
Yeah, it's one building, so it's that, which shaded in orange. And then there are also 4 separate detached garage buildings.
Okay.
I also want to note, one of the questions that came up during the public hearing was about drainage. We have to implement a stormwater management system on this site where we handle a 100-year storm event. And all of that, of course, has to be subject to review and approval. So we're well aware of the engineering. We'll actually be reducing the amount of flow that comes off immediately after a rain event.
You mentioned a possible shuttle or van service.
So our goal would be, this will be, how many now? You have 3 or 4? 3? This will make 4. The goal would be, now that we'll have, if this gets approved, which I hope it will, the 4th senior housing project, now that we'll have enough to add a shuttle service that will service all 4 of those.
So that's a possibility, not a.
I mean, I think it's pretty much, we're doing it, right?
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it. And we've told the prospective residents we're doing it.
And it's a shuttle service between the 4, or the shuttle
Between
service?
the 4 and then to the amenities.
To the
Whether
amenities.
it's a doctor's office, it's tops.
Okay.
Going out to an event, you know.
And what are the other 3? Where are the other 3?
The other, do you want to name the other 3?
Katie's Place in West Seneca, Lily's Place in West Seneca, and Sylvia's Place in Elba.
which
Okay,
is the
so
closest.
local, okay.
Yeah, they're all relatively close by, but different communities.
Okay.
And I can add my thoughts here and where I'm thinking. I thank you for the presentation. I do attended a couple of the planning commission meetings. This is a request for, first and foremost, a zoning change. That's always something that's very important, something we have to think about. Again, we're not approving this specific project, and this does have implications on other land and other parts of the community. Obviously, we would like to have a comprehensive plan that is newer and addresses this. I think that the Planning Commission has done a very good job of looking into it, but I want the village board to be 100% aware of everything that's related to that and the research and everything that's involved. I think these findings are a good way to look at this. It is inconsistent with the current comprehensive plan, but the proposed use is not inconsistent with certain surrounding land uses. That's something to take a look at. That's what the Planning Commission came to, and we certainly saw some of the evidence of that today. The legally binding restrictions would, of course, allow us to restrict that, but again, rezoning this to the GR would also then be the next argument to rezone other things to GR, because this is GR next to it, so there are other implications to this, rather in addition to this site. The market rate senior housing, my personal opinion is that we do need this in the community. Being a part of the Town of Aurora's comprehensive plan, we did a lot of outreach to people in the town that included some in the village, and this is definitely something that we needed. But we have to be sure that this is the project that we want, that we're happy with it. And again, this is just the zoning decision and the subdivision, so we have to look at it with the potential for this project, but also consideration of the other parts of the community. API Delavan, the agent, or the real estate agent, has confirmed that there's not been much interest in that lot. We are zoning this to be less invasive, so that is something to consider. The sanitary uses and the environmental stuff are something that we really want to take a look at. We have had a situation recently where there is a development where the community has been quite outspoken against it. So what I would propose is, and this is in line with what we always do in the town, is that we have this public hearing, process it, village board members can talk to the planning commission, to code enforcement officer, gather your thoughts, and then we can come back next meeting with a more robust conversation, unless you want to move forward with it today.
Yeah, I agree. I always think it's best, especially after a public hearing where we've had a lot of input, to take a little time and digest it.
Yep.
And especially now with a 45-page presentation also, so there's a lot of information to take in, so all of it great, but...
And can you, I don't know, did you send us that presentation?
I will.
Yeah,
Yep,
send
I
that to
will.
us so we can get that out there as well. Yeah.
I would agree. One thing that I think, based off of what people have said, is that we should possibly mull over a additional condition of specific town and village of Aurora residents, because it seems like that's what they, like, there's a lot of them that want it, and it would be unfortunate if someone from out of state gobbled all these up, and then we have the residents that have been here for so long not able to continue to be here for so long.
Yeah, I just want to make clear that would violate Fair Housing
Yeah, you
Act.
can.
Right, yeah, that's...
We gotta be
Unfortunate.
careful there.
But you wouldn't give an option to rent out or to...
No, we're not going to rent
Right.
all these to one corporation from California that's going to, no.
It is a potential, certainly a potential advantage to this project if it moves forward, that we would like to see some of the housing stock open up for families and
Right.
other,
Right.
within the community.
I mean, we already have a pretty robust sheet of people that are interested. It's primarily the village and the town.
Yeah, I think that's the only point I would emphasize. The specific use of this project, I think we're all aligned with anyway. But what I'm most excited about is creating capacity in the housing stock in the village. I think that's the biggest squeeze we're feeling right now. All of our neighbors here who've expressed an interest in this project would be vacating houses in this community. And that creates capacity for everybody also. So there's an added effect to this as well.
Yep.
I do think the traffic could be an issue, right?
Yeah.
Especially the Mill Road. There was a comment here before. that is something that we really do want to take a long, hard look at. So,
It is. I know we asked the state a couple of years ago or a few years ago maybe now, for a roundabout. They told us that there weren't enough accidents there. So, but it seems a little crazy. I've had people volunteering to help those numbers. But it does. I think that it would be great if that were a safe place to be able to cross, especially for seniors to be able to cross the street and get to the Tops Plaza. That would be a really logical thing to be able to walk to. Right now, that's a little dicey.
It's not there right now.
So I mean, there's a crosswalk, but there's a lot of traffic, especially at certain times of day, as she said.
So I think with that, then, no motion today. I think that's a fair use of our time. To further solicit community input, those are sort of the preliminary thoughts that we have. And, thank you for the presentation. I look forward to working with you in the future now that we're at the village board.
Is there any additional information you'd like from the project team?
What we may do is we'll put together a list of questions.
Okay.
Maybe we'll send that to you by the end of this week, and then, or sometime during the week.
Perfect.
We can get that, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But again, we are looking at the rezone as the first and foremost, and we want to make sure that we've got that in all the angles of that to consider.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Next up, we have a appointment of Rebecca Deca to the position of part-time public safety dispatcher to commence on June 16, 2026. Can I have a motion to make that appointment?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lazikas. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Kemp. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next up is a big one. I have some thoughts that I prepared here. I've spoken to most of you about this and many members of the community. So the item agenda is permission for the mayor to sign a contract with Blue Zone for planning services. Just want to say a couple of things about this so we've got it on record. Tonight I'm asking the village board to authorize a Blue Zone's walkability, bikeability, and healthy community workshop for East Aurora and study. I want to start by emphasizing for everyone in the community what this is and what it is not. This is not a commitment to any future construction project. It is not a commitment to install bike lanes, traffic calming devices, stop signs, sidewalks, or any other specific improvement. Rather, it is an opportunity to bring in nationally recognized expertise, engage our residents, and gather information that can help guide future decisions, such as whether or not to put a circle on Mill Road. This proposal comes at an especially appropriate time because the village is beginning work on a new comprehensive plan, hopefully. I've been working with Erie County regarding funding opportunities, and the county's agreed in principle to allow the costs associated with this workshop to serve as the local match for our comprehensive plan funding if the legislature does approve converting the feasibility study for Girard into a comprehensive plan study. If approved, this allows us to leverage those resources while simultaneously advancing our planning process. In addition, this work could help position the village for downtown revitalization initiative, New York Forward, transportation, parks, and quality of life grant opportunities. As we continue to pursue funding opportunities, it is important that we are able to demonstrate community engagement, identify priorities, and support our requests with professional analysis and documented public input. This workshop would help create that foundation and provide valuable support for future grant applications. There is also a significant amount of community interest in this topic. Many years ago, nationally recognized walkability expert Dan Burden conducted work in East Aurora. Mr. Burden is now a part of the Blue Zones team, a nationally recognized organization focused on helping communities improve health, well-being, longevity, social connectedness, and quality of life by creating environments that make healthy choices easier and more naturally. More recently, Erie County hosted a regional workshop featuring Mr. Burden that was attended by representatives from communities throughout the county, including participants from East Aurora. Deputy Mayor Root, members of her Planning Commission, others attended that event and can speak to the value of those discussions. Since becoming mayor, I have heard from numerous residents who have specifically asked that we revisit this type of exercise and explore bringing Dan Burden or a similar program back to East Aurora. With Blue Zones, we are going to be able to bring back Dan Burden and his team, which is nationally recognized, and has been tried and true. It was probably 20 years ago that this was the project. So, and a lot of the things that we take for granted now were a result of that study. The street in front of Main Street was narrowed in order to slow traffic. That was an issue. The bump outs on Main Street were added. And so a lot of the things that we take for granted right now are a result of the board taking this action previously. Residents care deeply about the future of our community and often have differing perspectives. And just the last 2 days, I've received 2 requests for new stop signs and 1 request asking us not to install a stop sign. We regularly hear concerns about speeding, pedestrian safety, accessibility, parking, traffic flow, bicycle access, neighborhood quality of life, and connectivity between our neighborhoods, parks, schools, and Main Street. These are important issues, but they are not always straightforward. The value of this workshop and study is that it gives us a structured process to gather public input, evaluate existing conditions, identify opportunities and challenges, and receive professional recommendations before making decisions. So what I am specifically proposing is that we proceed with option 2, the 2-day on-site workshop. The total project cost would be approximately $27,700, including project management, community engagement, existing conditions review, stakeholder meetings, walking audits, a community workshop, findings, and direct expenses. I would also like to note that this pricing reflects a unique opportunity. The Blue Zones team, including Mr. Burden, will already be in Western New York conducting work in Buffalo. Because they will already be in the area, East Aurora is able to effectively join on that visit rather than bearing the full cost that would normally be associated with bringing a national and international team to the community on a standalone basis. As a result, we are able to access expertise that would otherwise likely be significantly more expensive. So for the investment, we would receive several tangible deliverables, including a community engagement plan, public outreach materials, a community survey, stakeholder meetings and workshops, walking audits and corridor assessments, a review of existing conditions and community priorities, identification of safety concerns, barriers, and opportunity corridors, and most importantly, final findings and opportunities in a presentation that can help guide future decision-making, support grant applications, and inform our comprehensive plan efforts. Importantly, this effort is not about changing East Aurora into something else. East Aurora already possesses many of the qualities that communities across the country are trying to create. We have a vibrant Main Street, strong neighborhoods, beautiful parks, active civic organizations, excellent schools, and a culture that values community. This is about understanding how we can preserve and strengthen those qualities as we plan for the future. At the end of this, we may decide to pursue some recommendations, reject others, or simply use the information to inform our comprehensive plan and future grant applications. But whatever decisions we make, they will be based on community input, professional analysis, and a shared vision for East Aurora's future. This workshop does not require anyone to agree on solutions tonight. It simply gives us the information we need to make better decisions tomorrow. I believe this is a prudent investment, particularly given the opportunity to leverage the county funding to strengthen our DRI and other grant applications, to incorporate the work directly into our comprehensive plan, and to gain access to nationally recognized expertise at a significantly reduced cost. Where are my other 6 sheets? I'm just. For those reasons, I respectfully ask for the board's support to permit the mayor to sign the contract and open it up for discussion. Especially Chelsea, you saw Mr. Burden in action.
Yeah, I've been to his workshop and have many conversations with him, and it's really like every issue that comes up or everything that we've talked to the community about, a lot of it in my mind is coming back to this. It's coming back to connectivity, walkability, just kind of restoring and reviving East Aurora of what we all truly remember and want it to be. And so I think this is really important, and I think it's a important relationship to strengthen and move forward with. Has my support.
What was the workshop you went to?
It was up in Applegate Park. A lot of people from the town and a few from the village went. Jeff was there. It wasn't so much a workshop as it was like a seminar.
Yeah, make streets safer, walkability.
Yeah, Erie County was there, so there were dreamers, and then Erie County was there to talk about
Shut
signs and
us
safety
down.
measures
Yeah.
and shut a lot of the dreaming down. But it was a good balance between the two.
We had a very big contingent there, right? There were
probably 8 of us there.
East Aurora loves walkability. I like the synergy here with Blue Zones and walkability. We talked about this with the project and also with the need to update the comprehensive plan. This basically is a chapter in the comprehensive plan, right? We can think about walkability and desirability of the village. Those are all the things that are covered by this. I don't know if we covered the genesis of Blue Zones or where they come from, but It's based on areas of the globe that have a higher propensity for centenarians, for people who are 100 years old or older. That's where the name comes from. And these are the overlapping characteristics of those areas that this group supports and puts forward. So the idea behind this is that you create a community that is more connected, supports quality of life, supports walkability, supports community, and in doing so, you improve the quality of life for everybody. And I think that fits in nicely with the senior housing project we talked about, with walkability, with developing a new comprehensive plan that reflects where we are today. So this kind of fits right in the middle of all three of those.
Yeah, a lot of it was about like pedestrian safety too. That's what a lot of the seminar was. It was about the bike bus that goes to school, people just walking in our village. It was about how keeping them safe, vision from cars and crossing and not being able to see young children. It addressed a lot of those concerns as well. So I think him being on site for 2 days and just seeing how we move through our village would be really important.
Is this the only company that offers these services?
It's not, but because it's professional services, that we are able to not bid out the
Okay.
work. This is because of the familiarity with the community due to past work, because of the national reach to be able to use it from Buffalo. I feel comfortable going forward with this one, but that is a concern. If we just, because it's in July, that they're coming for Buffalo, it kind of pushes us forward on this schedule. But we do need to move quickly because if we are going to pursue the DRI or New York Forward Grant applications, the component that would be related to the Village of East Aurora and where we would use that funding, it will really help our application, and then to if we are successful, to then pinpoint what specific projects we have, and we put those right in without any further investment with the pictures and what it is that's necessary. So.
Yeah, could you say a little bit more about the deliverables that come out of this? Because it's not just thought leadership, is my understanding. We actually walk away with usable materials to plug into other layers of government. Is that right?
Yes. I'm assuming that the public input is supportive of all of this, which I strongly believe it will be. The goal is to have specific projects that we are able to implement to improve these characteristics of our village. And there's stuff out there too that they're willing to review. There was a study done maybe 5 years ago to have Payne and Elm Street be one way each. There have been sort of, so we think about like where bike racks should be. Should there be a circle on Mill? All of those things are things that we need to start putting together so that we can make the most of that two-day walk around.
What type of a savings was there due to the fact they were in town?
Well, you're looking at a lot of expenses and then the days that they're going to be traveling. So I don't know specifically, but a similar community, it was about $50,000 for this, same scope. That was in Pennsylvania.
Presumably, it's a team of 8 to 12 or something like that. So you're talking.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people, but the
Yep.
walking team would be two specifically that would be concentrating on the East Aurora part. Yeah.
Got it.
And Dan's one of them?
Dan is one of them.
That's
yeah.
one. He
In
loves.
fact, in their marketing materials, there are some people in the audience who were a part of those.
You're in the images.
So I think it's great. I just want to make sure that, you've mentioned bikeability a couple of times, something I think is really important. It's not mentioned really in the document other than in one of the person's backgrounds. Just want to make sure that we're going to get a good look at that too, sort of what we can do to improve that.
Yeah, we did specifically talk about that as an element. Yeah. I mean, example, my son was on a bike, but walking across Elm Street and was hit by a car. And so we had discussed what the potential ways there are to get people more to the business district, to encourage walking and biking, and to make it feel more safe. So those were all parts that they had included in the past and would be including in this.
Okay, great. Yeah, as long as that's part of the package, I'm happy.
Okay, with that, I would like to actually make a motion to permit the mayor to, well, actually ask for a motion, permit the mayor to sign a contract with Blue Zone for planning services with in the amount of no more than $27,700 for the, I lost my notes here, the
Second module.
Second module? Yeah, for the second module.
So moved.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Root, second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Kemp. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? And the motion carries. It's an exciting time. Next up, we have the Hamlin Park temporary use permit for Kevin Beers of Revive Wesleyan Church for Church in the Park each Sunday in August, August 2nd, 1916. Oh, that can't
It's
be
actually
right.
9th, I'm sorry.
2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd. I'm an attorney because I was promised there would be no math. I'm glad I passed that test. So 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Like I said, we had solicited some information from the community. We had mostly positive, if not all, positive feedback. There are two things that, based on looking at past emails, that I would like to talk about, if maybe you want to come up. I think the one thing is that the hours of use are 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then I know that you had changed this, but it's not in the application, so I would want to say that when does the sound application start and end?
Yeah, we don't turn on any amps until 10 for
Okay.
sound check. And the service wraps up by 12, and there wouldn't be anything after that either.
Okay, so that would be one condition I would want to just on here, that no amplified sound before 10 a.m. or after 12 p.m. And then another thing is that I know that last year, I believe, it was quite good, but before that, there were also some issues about the amplified sound and the volume of it. So also to say that amplifying sound shall not exceed 70 dBA when measured at the right-of-way surrounding the park. That is sufficient. It's about the sound of what you would expect to be hearing if that music is there. We do have a sound machine to check, and we want to work with you on that. This is more for the standard we want to set for all of these events moving forward. This is our first one that we're doing, and because we have the equipment, I'd like to get that in all of our applications, so we have that.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Are you using it on the 3rd?
What's that?
July 3rd?
Fair question.
The town of Aurora has
Touche.
municipal immunity and does not need to receive a permit from us.
No, we
We're
appreciate
for
it.
the community and want to do what's very reasonable.
Yeah,
so
and I
that all
think,
sounds good.
we, of course, this is a great thing, and I just wanted to give, the worst thing is when we don't give the opportunity for people to give feedback, and then they come in and they ask us, and, at least we can say, look, we posted on social media, we texted, we called, we emailed, we did everything we possibly could, and nobody came forward. So, like I said, last year I know there were no complaints, so we just, I would put these on the application. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if anybody else in the rest of the board has anything to add to that, but.
No, in the 10 years I've been here, I think we had that one year we had
Yeah.
an issue where the band got up, and I think the pastor was actually on vacation, and they decided to play their music as loud as they wanted. So that was the only one in all this time, and I think it's
I'd like
great.
to say that that happened before
Before
Kevin,
we were-
before
Right.
we were
Your tenure.
involved.
Yeah.
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 That's
Yeah,
fine.
that was that
But
one
thank
random
you for
rock
that.
band.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
It wasn't even like
but
church music.
the pastor wasn't there. And
Yep.
just so
That was a long time ago.
I think that was.
We're
quite
working
well.
through our policies, and we have other
you're
musical
right.
events around, and we just want to be consistent with everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's a good standard to have, so, yeah, and it's easy. I don't think it's overbearing. We are going to use you as a test case, though, because we want to see like what it actually is and see if it's reasonable. So if we're out there, we're not super enforcing, we're just
No,
trying to
please let
test
us
and-
know, because
Yeah.
I don't know if we have one of those, so we'd like to know too. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't hear very well, so I wouldn't hear it anyways, but, yeah. Okay with that, any other thoughts here? Thank you so much for coming in.
okay.
Then I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the Hamlin Park temporary use permit for Kevin Beers of Revive Wesleyan Church for Church in the Park each Sunday in August, the first 4 Sundays in August, August 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., with amplified sound being no earlier than 10 a.m. and no later than 12 o'clock noon, and with amplifying sound not exceeding 70 decibels when measured at the right-of-way surrounding the park.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Camp. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Vigier. Any other thoughts? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And that motion carries. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Okay, the next up is, and we have one more in addition to the agenda, don't forget. So next up is, maybe Nick, if you want to come up and say a few words. We had spoken about this a couple of meetings ago. We do have one new trustee. Is a part of B&L's study about our water system. Maybe grab a mic there. Yeah. Some of the things we need to do to apply for the WQIP grants that we had spoken about
Correct.
are to, number one, declare the village board the lead agency for seeker for the water system improvement project, and then permit the mayor to sign part one of the seeker for the water system improvement project to be able to apply. And this is fairly urgent in order to get in this year.
Yes. So good evening, everybody. Nick Pizzino. I'm from Barton and LaJudas. We are the village designated engineer. We've been handling the preliminary engineering work on the village's water system improvements, which is a project that you may have heard about a couple of weeks ago. But it's still a ways off. We can make it happen sooner if we get a bunch of grant money, which is what this is all about tonight. So we found out we had originally planned with the village to apply for a Water Infrastructure Improvement Act grant that could provide up to $5 million of grant money for the village to do water system improvements. Typically, that deadline to apply for that grant is in September every year. We found out last week that the deadline has been pushed up to July 27th, which is a lot faster than we were anticipating, but our environmental group worked very hard to get a state environmental quality review document ready for tonight. This is essential because without a completed state environmental quality review process, we can't apply for the WIA grant on July 27th. The reason we have to pass that tonight is we need to do part one tonight, and then that requires a 30-day coordinated review with interested and involved agencies, which there's a number of them in the area. We have 30 days to get that coordinated review complete. 30 days has to elapse before we can pass the parts 2 and 3 of the quality review and then declare a negative declaration, which is where we say there's no adverse environmental impact from the planned project. And that will allow the village to pass a bond resolution which shows a willingness to take on debt. Doesn't commit the village to actually doing any construction until we find out how much grant money we're able to get, but that bond resolution is essential to being able to apply for the grant money that we want to apply for. So what we've done is we put together the Part 1 document, we provided it to the village. Basically, it summarizes that upon this initial investigation, there doesn't appear to be any significant impact environmentally. We will ask the village to authorize the mayor to sign that, but only after the village resolves to act as the lead agency, which is the agency responsible for making this environmental determination, which they're going to do based on our advice from our environmental group, who does this all the time. So with those two items, those two boxes checked tonight, will allow us to go through the coordinated review process, wrap up the seeker process at the July 20th board meeting, where we'll also pass a bond resolution. We'll work with the village's bond council to get that together. And then we will apply for the money, and hopefully we'll be off and running with a nice grant package for the village to do some water system improvements.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions from anybody? I mean, we've talked about this before, but Grace is our expert trustee on this issue.
Yeah, I looked through it quick, but I'll look through it again, but I'm okay with the work you guys have done so far.
Great.
Great. Okay, with that, can we have a motion then to declare the village board the lead agency for seeker for the water system improvement project?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lazikis. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Vigier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And if there's no more discussion, then a motion to permit the mayor to sign part one of the seeker for the water system improvement project. May I have a motion for this?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cameron. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by deputy mayor Root. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And our last motion is to approve the demo/substantial modification to the residence at 517 Linden Ave. Colin Kujavsky, I don't know if you're here, but I don't think this is a difficult one. It went through the HPC And this was the demolition code that we passed a couple of meetings ago, I think, already. The only thing that I wanted to take this out of the consent consideration is that the HPC did want to request that the trim around, put a condition on this approval that the trim around the kitchen sink window will resemble the current size. So if we agree with the HPC's recommendation, I would then ask if any thoughts on that, or?
It's fine.
Fine, yeah. So then, to get a motion to approve the demo/substantial modification of the residence of 517 Linden Ave with the condition that the trim around the kitchen sink window resembles the current size. If anyone wants to make that motion?
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Bojanowski?
Motion Bojanowski.
Yeah, that was.
Second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Root.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No old business, no new business. We move forward to speakers and communications, and this is the point where anyone in the audience is able to speak on any item that they would like to the mayor and village board. Thank you very much for waiting your turn.
Thank you. It's so
We do that so some people were
serendipitous
made.
that all the discussion that went on tonight, because it's exactly what I'm here about. Hello, neighbor. I am Judy Atkinson Miller, and I live at 2 Woodbrook Drive off a mill, 2/10 of a mile from 20A, and probably 3 to 4/10 of a mile from the new development that's proposed, which I think is a great idea, by the way. Much rather see more residents than commercial at that area. I have been before this board that changes. I was here in 2021 with a petition from all of the people that live in my community at Woodbrook for safety calming measures and infrastructure improvement for walkability. So I'm really pleased to see you approved the idea for studies on that. I was also again here in 2024 because absolutely nothing came of 2021, and previous residents in the area had been there earlier. I realize that it's a difficult area for sidewalk, and we have a neighbor at 182 Mill who has a pond that's right up to the edge of the road, and I'm not sure if that complies with the 33.5 or 30 whatever there is for access for municipalities to have sidewalks. And then on the other side of the street, of course, is the county sewer treatment program, which they're doing a lot of work on right now, we know, and it seems to me there could be sidewalk on that side of the road, maybe. We're interested in that, obviously. That would be our best option because many of us, we are a 55 plus community of 28 units of owned condominiums. And we very much enjoy living in the village. And I cannot anyway take my bike out there anymore. The traffic is just incredible how much it's increased. I do not know why. Maybe everybody's figured out it's the quickest way, quickest shortcut, quickest way into the village, as opposed to, Center Street, where they have to stop at a lot of stop signs, or they cut up and go across Beach. I mean, it's the throughway to get quickly places for automobiles. But we're still part of the village community, and I can't walk anywhere. And I am a big walker, and so is my husband, and so are neighbors that are here. And I just want to see if there's any way there could be any kind of a study, which I was told there was going to be before, engineering study to see how they could mitigate, do something to improve, because it's narrow there. I don't know how familiar you are with that area. It kind of winds in, it's an old country road. And back in the day, that was fine. But it is part of the village. And if the village would be willing to reach out to Erie County to see what possibilities to mitigate the speed and the volume of traffic. Our children live in Lewiston, and they just reduced it to 25, and it's wonderful. It really does make a difference. And I think that's a great idea for our village, and that would certainly work in that area too. Also, maybe signage that just says pedestrian and bicycles crossing or whatever, anything to like get people to not think they can zip through that little section of Mill where it's so narrow. It's very dangerous. And it cuts us off. We can't go anywhere without a car anymore. And 20 years ago, we could risk it, and we can't risk it anymore. It's not safe. So anyhow, just wanted to state that.
I promised Judy that I wouldn't say anything, but I did want to...
You just say who you are.
Yes, Chris Miller, 2 Woodbrook, East Aurora. One major concern of ours is when Aurora Mills was built, it added at least 100 cars to Mill, coming down Mill 220A. And the only person that I know that's really happy about that, and I don't think he minds me mentioning his name, is Sam, the car wash guy. He was extremely happy to see that development go in. But the fact of the matter is, there's at least 100 additional cars that are coming down Mill every day. We talked to the police chief. He's very good about putting patrol on that road, particularly coming down. But it is a hazard. It's a hazard to walk. As Judy said, we've parked our bikes for the last 5 years. It's also a hazard at that intersection. It is a very difficult place to turn left and right off of Mill onto 28.
Even in an automobile. Yeah.
So we're not concerned about that. We are concerned about the volume of traffic. Honestly, in 24 and in 21, we asked for speed humps to be put at the bottom before you go up the hill. The pushback was, what are the plows going to do? How are they going to handle that? But we're hoping that there's some sort of out-of-the-box thinking regarding the residents at Woodbrook and other people that come down that road walking to get to the village.
And I think there's sort of a psychology, and I think you all understand that, is that, part of that psychology is making your community a walkable community, is maybe some things in, like that thing about June, and I have a sign at the end of our road for it, but it's almost useless for me. Unless I go and park my car up at the plaza, then I can walk. So I just feel cut off and yet so close, 0.2 of a mile. So,
Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I will just tell you that in 2024, I did walk that street with Gina Wilkowski from Erie County Highways, and what was determined at the time was, according to her, there was no safe place for a crosswalk, and that the road was designed prior to the condominium complex that they live in now, and it wasn't designed with the idea of there ever being a sidewalk in place, so the right-of-ways with that pond there make it very difficult. And if you know where I reside, there's nobody that would like a safer street more than I do, and a traffic circle there and all of those things. But the county and the state both operate under such strict guidelines by the federal government that they're usually not willing to do things that would jeopardize their funding for highways. So it's really a rough situation there, but it can be that way a lot, as we've figured out a lot of places in town with the county and the state and how they have to operate based on guidelines that they're given. So it's not that anybody's ignored your past request. I've personally walked it with the county, but they kind of throw their hands up at the end and say, we just don't see how we could ever put a sidewalk in here. We'll revisit it. I'm happy to revisit it with them now, but I'm just letting you know where it's been in the past.
Yeah, I would just say, in my time on the town board, we did a lot to including Scoot Around June, which is in June only because there was no ChatGPT at the time and I could not find out a name for July. But also to limit the type of subdivision expansion that you're seeing there. In the 2 months or so that I've been on this board, we see that there is pressure from members of our community, from residents, about the places where cars are coming in and out of the community. And this is another one that, honestly, you're thinking about the ones where people are coming forward. And so this is certainly a good candidate because you're right? You live in the village for a reason. The reason is because you want to be a part of a walkable and bikeable community. I think this makes it easy because we did something today before you spoke to address this. We need to make sure that we get the team and what we had just approved to come out and look at that area and to think about some suggestions. It is sometimes difficult to work with the county and the state. We can't promise anything, but we approved this study and we'll include that area into the study. And we can look at some, as you said, out of the box. We can try to find some solutions to get to something where we can make that a more bikeable, walkable area, provided that everyone gives public input that that's what we want in this community, but I strongly believe that it is. So with that, I would say please participate in that, and please participate in the comprehensive plan and get your neighbors to submit, because for us, one of the most important things in dealing with the county is getting public input so that we can take back to them and show this is what the community wants and elevate it to, it's not just us saying it, so. But thank you, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Morris?
I guess you already know who I am, I don't have to introduce, but my name is Tom Morris, 179 Whaley Avenue, it's the corner of Whaley and North, and yes, congratulations, I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet, and congratulations, Vijay, on being trustee. I just wanted to come in, and I didn't know this would be a topic about the walkability, and it makes a lot of sense. My family and I, we like to be out and we like to be active. I noticed the crosswalk signs, and this obviously, it's just take back for food of thought as you go to talk about other things. The crosswalk signs, until today, I thought you were putting brand new signs out. Trustee Vijay reminded me, or let me know that signs are being replaced, but I'm sure Jeff and his crew are very busy as they have to replace those every couple weeks. And I know it's probably not car sitting, at least I'm hoping not. I'm assuming it's more tractor or trailers behind trucks and large vehicles, but those signs regularly get hit, and so I'm glad it's not kids. And as a first responder, I'm glad we're not getting called to anything like that. But I know those signs at the corner of Girard and Whaley and down at Grove and Girard get hit regularly. I do recall in the past a previous trustee, I apologize, I don't remember last name, but Molly had mentioned signs that could go on the side of the road, might be lighted, if that would help. I don't have the answer. I don't know who has the answer, and I would love to meet the person who has the perfect solution. But our crosswalks, I want to walk too, and it just seems like what's there is not working 100%. I do know that I come to crosswalks quite often in our village, and I'll wave at cars as they drive by, and they wave back, which is kind of funny to me, right? Cars do stop, but often I've even seen kids as I go to stop and have them wave me on because they don't trust that cars on the other side of the road are going to stop. So just something to consider. I find it's funny, you mentioned something about stop signs. The stop sign at my corner seems to be optional, quite seriously. I welcome a police officer. I know Officer Welch, or I'm sorry, Chief Welch, very well. Anybody can come and sit there if they'd like, but the stop sign in front of my house, it's only one side that's a stop sign, and it seems to be about 10% of the time used and every other time not. So I don't know the solutions. I just wanted to come and mention those things. I'm sure you'll take care of it. I'm sure you'll come up in conversation, and thank you.
And that's a huge gateway right there for walkers and bikers to come down Whaley to get off of Main and to get to the neighborhood over there. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you see a lot.
I think with this study that what we're looking at is exactly the solutions like this. So who knows? Well, we're bringing in national
Professionals that know what to do,
professionals
yes.
that hopefully will know. And I think that there's more community conversations. That's a really wide street, right? And
Yes.
it is the quickest way to get from one side of town to the other, right?
Right, especially
Generally.
because there's no stop signs from Pine all the way down to Maple.
And so those are the issues that we want to get that public feedback from everybody and put that together and come up with some potential solutions. That's really the point and the heart of what this Blue Zones proposal was.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I can tell you the solution to the Grove Street one. It's on the wrong side of the road. Did you? I know.
Hello, I'm Brendan Raleigh at 181 Sycamore. I'm sorry I wasn't familiar with the format of the meeting. From consensus considerations about the point F for the household, the permit for chickens, was that approved to have the hearing, or was the permit approved?
Yep. Nice to meet you. I believe our wives know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way that it works is that if, for chickens, right, and I have a very, if you look at my last name in chickens, you'll see I have a very pro-chicken stance, right, other than roosters in the village. The way it works is because you're next to a park and because I believe not all of the neighbors have provided the consent, it has to go to a public hearing. So
Okay.
we set the public hearing, just as we did the public hearings today. What we'll do is we'll send mailers out to your neighbors, and we'll post this on social media and do the same if anyone has signed up for our Code Red to solicit public input on this, right? And what it
Okay.
is giving an opportunity for anybody who, I don't know, has a chicken allergy or whatever, some reason why they don't support it, to come forward, and then we would have the public hearing at our next meeting in 2 weeks, and then make a decision either then or 2 weeks after that about approving your request to have chickens permitted on the property.
Okay. Do we need to bring anything further to that, or it's just for people in the community to like raise objections or whatever?
They could ask you questions.
Okay.
If there was, the board might ask you to address a question. You don't just automatically address the question, only if they ask you to, and I don't usually believe you need to bring anything extra unless
No.
there's something missing from your
We need the
application.
42BC engineering study of the coop, right?
Are you
And-
getting older chickens or are you splitting up chickens? Because in New York State, you have to get a minimum of 10 chicks. Just to let you know, if you're going in with the thought that you're only going to get 4 chickens, you have to actually
Thought
get.
it was
It's not six.
six.
I
Six.
think we moved it
I think
to
it's
10. Is it 6?
Pretty, I'm
I thought-
6, yeah.
Unless they changed it.
Unless they
Right.
changed it
Okay.
recently.
I think somebody sold you 4 extra chickens.
I don't know.
So we need a minimum of 10 chicks?
Well, maybe now it's 4, but I mean
Six. I think
6. It's
it's
not
six.
4 though.
I think when you take them, you have to get 6.
Yeah. Because they have to be
Oh,
little
it's
and they keep each other warm, and so there's like a minimum that you have to get.
Okay, I'll get that. All right,
And to be
thank you.
clear, the hearing is on the 20th, right, per the consent agenda, not the next meeting?
Yeah.
So that we give Mr. Raleigh the right date.
Sure.
Public hearing on July 20th?
It's July 20th, it's on here.
It has to be so many days.
It has to be so many days out,
Right.
it's July 20th.
Okay.
But just to make sure we tell them to show up to the right meeting, it's the July 20th meeting.
I just want to, while you're here, though, we may, while we're in session still, want to amend this to a 6-chicken special use permit application. Are we able to do that
Yep.
for the public hearing? It's a public hearing, so.
Okay.
So that we don't have to reset it and wait another 30
I
days.
mean, otherwise, we're going to approve you for 4, you have to get 6.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
legally, you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We could do 6. I mean, I wasn't planning on a huge coop, but
You don't have to.
usually.
There are ways
You don't have
around
to,
it, but
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So permits is buffalo up to 6 hens with a.
Yeah, and if we give you a 6, you don't have to.
Oh, you
do
don't
this.
have to have a 6 chicken.
Yeah, you don't have.
This is, we've done similar things before with
Okay.
like
Yeah, that's
businesses,
fine.
where we say, okay, we'll give you these extra operating hours so that you don't have to come
Oh,
back
yeah,
2
yeah.
years later and
Okay.
say, I want to be open till
No,
11.
I understand.
Also, are you aware there was, we have another law that if you go get all your neighbors' written permission and hand it
They
in.
don't have all of them. That's one of the
Okay.
reasons why we set the public
Okay.
hearing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
If you get all that, the hearing is moot.
Their name-
wouldn't
Yeah,
need
you
to
get
do
to
it.
skip it.
Missing?
Even with the park?
Even with the park.
Yep.
So that's another strategy.
Does it specify how far out that extends? Like
It does, we
immediate
gave a
neighbors, or-
drawing. We gave you guys a drawing.
Okay.
Showed all the ones that needed a
Okay.
signature. And then, but then there's also the fact that the park is there.
Okay.
So what we'll do now is.
So take my $90.
Because we're still in session, I think we'll amend the public hearing, we'll have to vote on it.
Okay.
To up to 6 chickens, that way you don't have to come in and have a second
Okay.
public hearing for 6 chickens after you've had 4.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everyone.
So with that,
So I move that we amend the public hearing set for July 20th to include up to 6 chickens for the Raleigh household at 181 Sycamore Street.
I'll second.
motion by trustee Camp, second by trustee Bojanowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other thoughts, questions? Yeah?
Nancy Smith, 195 Sycamore.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you to all the trustees. I am wildly enthusiastic about the fact that you're doing this. I had the chance to hang out with Dan Burden when he worked in Hamburg. He did a massive community engagement effort there. There were no roundabout signs, if anybody remembers those. The roundabouts are lovely. And then he did come to East Aurora, and he did a walking event. I think Mary Flickinger was behind that. And then a few years ago, there was a national conference, the New Urbanism Conference in downtown Buffalo, and they had a day with Dan Burden, where you got to get on a bus, and it went in Hamburg, it came to East Aurora, it went to downtown Buffalo and Lewiston. This guy's incredible, so I can't believe we're doing this, and I just want to thank you all. So I think Judy and Chris, you guys, if anybody could come up with something that's outside the box, it sounds like the team. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, then we'll go to department head report. We start with Code Enforcement Officer Cassidy, who's hiding from us tonight.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. Chief Welch?
Touch on, obviously last weekend was the second Heart of Music event. It was, I believe, the 11th or 12th music event, but the second named Heart of Music event. Again, things went pretty well for us. I want to just point out that since instituting help, or recruiting help rather, from the State Police, Orchard Park Police Department, Cheektowaga Police Department, it's made a big difference, and it really does make a big difference to the police officers as well to have more help there. They feel safer. That day's a heck of a lot less of a burden to them with the extra help. So we're really grateful to them for coming out and giving us some assistance on that day. Just coming up for the police department, as you might be aware, we filled a vacancy tonight. I'm expecting 2 more vacancies due to retirement this summer, and then the police clerk is also planning to retire. So it's going to be a busy summer of appointing employees, hopefully to replace retiring employees at the police department. Right now, our next big event is July 3rd, and we started planning it today. So keeping things moving over there. That's all I have.
Great, thanks. General Crew Chief Stoll.
I'm happy to say I won't be updating Facebook in the morning for milling. It's a go tomorrow morning. We will start on Boys Alley at 6 a.m. We're coming in early. And then we'll continue on Gray Street, heading to Buffalo. And then we're going to go to Girard Avenue from Maple to North Willow. And then Wednesday will be Crescent and Church. And if there's anything left on Girard, we'll get that. Aeration is finished at the park for the trees. Turned out great. The guys mulched them Friday. And from what I heard, set up and take down for Music Fest went well. Took some time, but everything went well on our side.
Great, thanks.
Jeff, can you remind me when paving is? After the milling?
I don't have a date yet.
Okay.
I'll send an email as soon as.
Okay.
I know this week there's a lot of rain, so they'll probably be backed up, and we got to do a lot of prep work after we mill. So
Right.
I'm hoping to get everything done by the 3rd of July.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right, tonight, for the first time since we've been here, we actually have a representative from the East Aurora Fire Department, if you'd like to say anything.
You want me to come up and talk again?
If you want, if you have something to report. Not only, but a president of our 501c3, right? So.
Yes, I am the president of the fire department, yes. I agree with Chief Welch. I think everything that happened on July 3rd went very well. We had some great coverage. We had an assistance from the Jameson Road Fire Department. We had 2 vehicles with them. We had 2 vehicles of our own to respond to EMS calls. All the EMS calls that happened were taken care of. I eventually finished out the day. 3 of us, myself, the chief, and assistant chief, we went home at 2 a.m. So there was coverage and protection. And it was great to work with all the partners, just as Chief Welch had mentioned, and all the police departments, the state troopers, all that went well. We are also preparing for July 3rd. Our chief has already started to do some preparations, and so we are looking forward to July 3rd for the Foamy Fun, for the parade, and for the standby. We do have neighboring companies, I believe. I can double check with the chief. I do believe that West Falls is also committed to do the standby, and so we will have ample coverage for the fireworks as well.
Right? Okay, any update from the tree board? Mr. Simeoni. Planning commission, tree board, you're not on the tree board still? You're only on the planning? Sorry.
Probably fine.
Yeah. Update from planning?
Planning? Not really. Well, we did go over your village comprehensive plan guidelines, just kind of the outline that you come up with. It was really good. It was very well received, so we're really looking forward to advancing on that.
Great.
So,
Okay. Engineer?
Don't have much to say, but I guess if I have anything, I could use this. As you saw, Nick talked about the water, and I'm glad we were able to jump on that once we found out the accelerated schedule. I owe you for sidewalks along, it's part of the Hamlin Park walkway, so I'll get that proposal to you soon. We also got something to you, Marie, today about the former village hall, the police station. There's a study for what work needs to be done on that, because that's quite an old building. And other than that, try to finally close out the bathroom there. We gotta wait for those change orders to get processed and all that. The roof, I don't believe you've gotten those hard copies yet. I mean, we're getting way in the weeds now, so I'll stop. Okay. We'll already get way in the weeds, so that'll be enough for now.
They were paid. They're going to get paid tomorrow.
All right, good.
Great, yeah, we look forward to that, the building stuff, yeah, that's important. Hey, anything on the Chamber of Commerce?
Not really. Sidewalk sale, or excuse me, the Easter Road Summer Street Festival. It's been rebranded. It's moving along. We have sold out of our vendors, and Carrie's been working with the chief and DPW on, closing the streets and getting all that taken care of. So just looking forward to that, and as well as a good July 3rd event.
Great, I'll have a report, when I do mine, I'll give a report, an update on our stuff then, so. All right, from the trustees, clerk treasurer first?
Taxes.
Taxes, yep,
The bad news. That's it.
that's it.
All this
Keeping
is
busy,
what I
yep,
did.
Yep. Maureen keeps on blaming me for these long agendas, but I don't know, I don't think that's fair.
I think it is.
Trustee Lizikas?
Nothing new. There's actually tree board mulching event this Thursday, and I'm going to assist with that. And other than that, nothing new.
Yep, we posted on our, by the way, we have now overtaken the town of Aurora with subscribers to our Facebook account. So we've gotten about 8 to 9 times more than we did like 2 months ago, and we took them over, so.
Does that mean you're an influencer now?
Yeah, well,
Within the town of Aurora, he's an influencer.
yeah, well, it's not me, it's Martin Tinsdale and Jeffrey Stoll and Maureen, but yeah. And I think that we got so many likes on the last mulching, so the community really appreciates it, I think, so, yep. Great. Anything
That's
else? Yep, trustee Cameron?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Deputy Mayor Root?
I'm trying to think of what I would have that you won't touch upon. I think for the pedestrian and bike board, though, I talked to Mike Robinson, and we think that next year, I mean, not last ride, but the ride before, we had 137 kids, 97 adults, and 3 dogs, and I think last Friday, we far past the amount of at least children that were there. So I think next year, since it's growing bigger, it's more of a presence at the very beginning. Everyone's going to sign a waiver at the beginning, just for safety, because it's just a lot of kids all leaving the same parking lot at the same time. So,
Do they have a special event permit?
No.
Yeah.
So, yep. We'll talk to them.
okay, next year we
Anything else?
Just taking
Yeah.
more resources and time, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're good. Starting on this side, trustee Bojanowski?
Yeah, so I went to my first District 8 sewer meeting. That was pretty eventful because we approved a budget, and that was a lot of fun information, and I'm hoping to get a tour of that at some point in the summer. And then the HPC meeting went well with the new demo code. It was very smooth, and I think everyone, there's some tweaks that maybe need to be addressed in terms of how exactly, what information they actually will want so that it can go a lot smoother. But I thought it was, for its first run, I thought it was good.
Yeah, my most important goal was that Kevin would still be here after his first HPC meeting, and it worked out. So, yeah. Trustee Camp?
Not much to add. The Boys and Girls Club had their annual steak roast at Skonokasan, which unfortunately conflicted with the fourth grade concert that took Deputy Mayor Root and I both away from it. But I'm told the event was great, and we're looking forward to going to it next time. I think that's the only thing for me.
Great. Trustee Vijay, anything?
I'm excited to be back. A little short 2-month break. Looking forward to getting my email back so I can hear from Nancy Smith. It's my favorite. But no, right now I'm just going to get back into it. I have a couple questions for the new attorney. But other than that, I'm excited.
And we are also excited. Okay. Real quickly, the most important thing, I'll start with that, is that we were able to identify where the cornhole platforms are. So that is a go. On June 20th, we do need to form our team. I heard that you were good at cornhole. Is that true? So there's one player right there. But we need to have 4 teams of 2s. So
June or July 20th?
June.
Oh, we moved it up now. Wasn't it going to be
It's
July?
always been June. I just made a mistake in one of my emails.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let the record show you made a mistake in your email.
Don't put that in there.
I didn't.
So are there any trustees that are interested in doing it on June 20th?
Would love to, but there's a trustee's daughter who's born on June 20th, so I'm out.
Anyone?
What time on the 20th?
4 o'clock is when it starts.
Come on.
Think about it
Event.
and get back to me. We're going to need some employees then to fill in the holes here. There is a trophy. There is a trophy that someone will display proudly after this for the winning team. So, all right, this is a team right down here, I see. That's. In addition to that, have been having conversations with the Climate Smart team. UBRI, which is our local consultant that the state provides for our region, will be here on Wednesday to the Town Climate Smart Committee Task Force meeting to talk about how we can use some of the actions that the town has taken for points in our program. We do need to reaffirm the original pledge, because that was about 10 years ago, and reformulate the Climate Smart Community Task Force, but this does open up a lot of grant opportunities, and there's a lot of exciting things like Scoot Around June and community solar and things like that that are out there that we want to likely be a part of. The DRI New York Forward Grant, I'm working on a press release to try to find interested projects. We've met with the chamber. We're also looking to put the Small Business Task Force together to be able to make sure that we solicit enough potential projects to have a very competitive application by the time the fall comes around. I am heading to the Consolidated Grant Funding event on Wednesday at Birchfield Penny. So anyone's welcome to join me at that. The Parks Committee, we did not take any motion on, but we can talk about that with the liaisons. We held a Pride event out here in the parking lot, thanks to the police presence. I think it really made a big difference this year, but it was well attended, and I think the right message. And then Deputy Root and I met with the Senior Vice President of Mattel, who is in charge of Fisher-Price, talk about their potential plans and how they can become more involved in the community, and they are looking forward to doing so, and would like to be a part of this Small Business Task Force likely, and continue participating in the July 3rd parade, and they were talking about Toy Town, and there's a lot of other things, but their intention is to remain in the community. They have maybe downsized their Fisher-Price wing, but have also increased the amount of employees here on a Mattel division because the cost of professionals here is less than it is in other places. So I think it was a very positive meeting. No further plans to sell off any properties, and they are looking to expand, is what we were told. So, and with that, I think that's all from me. Anybody else? Then may I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion by trustee Lazikas, a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Bojanowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know.